Hello and welcome back to this channel. In the diversity visa program, the issue of chances for interview or prospects for interview never ceases. In other words, every day, diversity visa applicants continue to ask concerning their chances or their prospects for interview. Now, a couple of months ago, I ran a series in which I responded to the question, when will my interview be scheduled, or when will I receive my interview notification, which is the same as asking concerning your chances or your prospects for interview. In that series, I made you to understand that there were new factors that now affect the scheduling of diversity visa interviews. One of those new factors was the performance of your embassy. We said in case your embassy has a good performance, then it increases your chances or your prospects for interview. And on the other hand, if your embassy has a low performance, then your chances or prospects for interview are also low. So the performance of your embassy is a major factor that determines your prospects for interview or your chances for interview. Now, at the beginning of this year, 2025, the first CEAC data were released. And when those data were released, I explained to you how to use the CSV file from those data to determine the case number range where the scheduling of interviews currently is at your embassy or consulate. Now, what I'm going to do in today's video is to share with you how you can use interview scheduling at your embassy or the case number range where interview scheduling currently is at your embassy or consulate to determine your prospects for interview at that embassy. Now, let's bring another item in. That item is the cutoff number for your region or your country in case you are from an exception country. Earlier this week, the visa bulletin showing the cutoff numbers for the month of March was released. We saw the new cutoff numbers to apply during the month of March. For the Africa region, for example, we saw 25,000. For the Asia region, 6,000. For Europe, 13,000, and so on. Now, all of you, or most of you, are aware that the cutoff numbers indicate to applicants the case numbers that are eligible for interview during the month concerned. So having 25,000 for the Africa region, for example, means that all case numbers below 25,000 are eligible for interview. That is, case numbers chargeable to the Africa region, eligible for interview during the month of March 2025. Now, that is the role of the cutoff number that you guys are all aware of. But there is another role that the cutoff numbers play. This time it concerns the embassy. The cutoff numbers indicate to the embassy the case number range where they are allowed to interview cases during the month concerned. That's another role of the cutoff numbers. So having 25,000 for the month of March for the Africa region is saying to the different embassies around the world that you are allowed to interview diversity visa cases up to, but not including, 25,000. So in other words, up to 24,999. Now, how do you use interview scheduling at your embassy and the cutoff number of your region or your exception country to determine prospects that you have for interview at your embassy or consulate? That cutoff number that is established concerning your region or for your region is a kind of reference for determining the performance of your embassy and by consequence, your prospects or chances for interview. In other words, it is something that you can look at and know your chances for interview at your embassy. And this is how it works. You take interview scheduling at your embassy or the case number range where interview scheduling is at your embassy or consulate, and you see how close it is to the cutoff number that is established for your region. The closer interview scheduling is to that cutoff number, the better the performance of your embassy, and by consequence, the better or the higher your prospects are of being scheduled for interview at that embassy or consulate. And the further away interview scheduling is at your embassy or consulate, the lower the performance of your embassy or consulate, and the lower your prospects are when it comes to being scheduled for interview at that embassy or consulate. So we can also say that the best performing embassies in the different regions are the embassies that are closest to the cutoff number that has been established for the region or exception country concerned. And the worst performing embassies are the embassies or consulates that are farthest away from the cutoff number that has been established for the region or exception country concerned. Let's consider a few examples. Now, we are not going to use the cutoff numbers that were just released this week because it is now that interview scheduling concerning the month of March is beginning. It is still soon to judge from interview scheduling concerning the month of March. So let's refer to the month of February where that principle also applies. For the Africa region, the cutoff number that was established for the month of February was 22,500. So which embassies had interview scheduling closest to 22,500 for the month of February 2025? Those embassies were the best performing embassies when it comes to interviewing cases from the Africa region. Now, let me clarify that the embassies don't necessarily have to be located in the region concerned. Their performance can be gauged whether they are located in the region or not. And then at the other end of the spectrum, there is Accra, Ghana, which is the embassy farthest away from the 22,500 cutoff number for the month of February. And that confirms what we said in our first embassy performance report, that Accra is the worst performing embassy when it comes to interviewing diversity visa cases from the Africa region. So it is as simple as that. Now you can go ahead, apply this simple method to determine the performance of your embassy and your prospects for interview being assigned at your embassy or consulate. So that is what I had to share with you in today's video, and that brings us to the end of the video. Thanks for watching it. See you very soon, God willing, in the next one. Goodbye.